Hi, I'm interviewing Javier, the founder and chief executive of ECOALF, a sustainable luxury brand founded in Spain, and I'm gonna be very biased, but one of my favorite clothing brands. So you know where I'm starting from. Welcome, Javier. Perhaps just could you tell us a little bit of the background to founding of ECOALF and the sort of trajectory from when you started?
Good morning, Giles. Pleasure. Well, ECOALF was started in 2009. So the idea was to create a truly sustainable fashion company. And I believe the most sustainable thing to do was not to keep on using natural resources. So recycling could be a solution. If we were able to make like this new generation of recycled products with the same quality and design as the best on recycle. The problem is that when I went to the market in 2010, there were no cool recycled fabrics. So fabrics were only recycled a small percentage and they were not very fashionable. So it took me like nearly 3 years to launch the brand until 2013. So from 2010 to 2013, I traveled around the world developing all those fabrics. Since then, we have developed over 430 fabrics, recycling different types of materials, from plastic bottles or discarded fishing nets or cashmere or wool or cotton or coffee leftovers, cotton, a lot of things. Yeah.
And so you've used the materials as the basis for being a good business. But is that where it stops for you? Or, are you trying to run the company in a different way to, as you saw the rest of the fashion industry? And for example, do you use the same seasons, or are you what's your view on the way the fashion industry works? Do you does good extend to the way you operate, or is it simply on the materials that you're using?
No, absolutely. I think materials is not enough. I think not just because you use a recycled fabric, you're sustainable enough. I think it's the business model which is behind your company, which is much more important. No, that's something I always discuss a lot. No, with fast fashion. No, because at the end, you might use a recycled fabric, but the problem is that your business model is not sustainable. I mean, unfortunately, fashion has been a lot about buying, throwing, a new trend every Thursday, promotion, discount, Black Friday, and that's creating a huge amount of waste, and billions of garments going to landfill. I remember reading, I think it was a year ago, one of the biggest cotton companies in the world burning 4,000 acres of forest in Ethiopia to plant cotton.
Yeah.
So we're crazy, because at the end we're burning the forest to plant cotton, to make T-shirts of €4, which are going to finish in landfill in less than 2 years. It has no sense. On top of that, each of those T-shirts use 2,500 liters of water. So it's impossible. I mean, this business model in the fashion industry cannot work for many more years, because we're going to be 2 more billion people by 2050, and there's not enough space to plant cotton. There's not enough water. There's not enough landfills. So we need to change the basis of the business model. So that's why, I mean, we don't believe in overproduction. So, I mean, this year we're going to finish the year with so far we're 94% sellout, so practically not stock. So we produce exactly what we sold to wholesalers and what we believe we can sell in our stores. So, and which created a lot of problems with our wholesalers, because they used to make repetition orders. And we said, no, we don't. When we don't produce waiting for you to ask for those garments, because if you don't ask for them, what do we do with them? We don't do promotions. We don't do discount campaigns. We don't do Black Friday. In fact, we always do anti-Black Friday campaigns. We did a beautiful video this year with Tom Follery, which, as you know, is this amazing English poet. He did something really amazing. So I think you need to take much more decisions than just the fact of using the materials. I think you have to try to be as much sustainable as you can all the way the process, no?
How do you make decisions about how far to go with that? Because in the end you are a business, and it's like if the wholesaler says, well, we need this season and we need that, and if we don't, then we're not going to stock you. is there a limit to how much you can push the model and be successful? And do you think that it is iterative like that, that you just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and things will change more over time, but that you need to be sort of reasonable in the process, not go sort of to 100% on day one?
Well, I think it's very important. First of all, you have to be transparent. So nobody's perfect. So, and we don't claim to be so. So what you have to say is always transmit your people all the steps you're doing, and here's what we're doing, and this is what we need to improve, and this is our challenges, and this is what we're doing. Second of all, I think you have to be constant with your messages and what you do. So if you think, then don't do promotions. If you don't think you're going to do 1 year Black Friday and the other one, no, we don't believe in this, we don't do it. No. I remember, I mean, one of my biggest discussions are always with department stores, because department stores right now always used to make promotions. This is the 8 days promotion, the Black Friday promotion, the before Christmas promotion, and we never do them. And they always tell me, Javier, you're going to have a much worse sellout than the other brands. I said, well, buy less. If you think I'm going to sell less, buy less. So I don't put any pressure to you. I'm not telling you to buy me 2,000 jackets, buy 600. So I think you have to not be so ambitious with what you want to sell, because at the end you need to go at the speed the market allows you to go. And that's that. Of course, I'm lucky because I have investors which support those kind of decisions, which is important. No, I mean, I remember in 2014 our second bestseller was the fleece jacket, until I discovered that every time you wash a fleece jacket, it throws around 20,000 microfilaments back to the system. So we said, okay, we cannot use any filament, any broken filament, because we're creating huge damage. So you have to be brave enough to take those decisions, and brave enough and lucky enough to have the support of your investors to help you make those decisions, which are obviously some of them against the P&L in the short term.
Sure. And you became one of the earliest B Corps, I think, in the fashion industry, and certainly in Spain.
The first one in Spain, yeah.
Has that been a helpful process for you? And do you think that you've changed as a business as a result of being a B Corp? Or do you think that it really just affirmed what you were already doing?
No, I think it was fantastic. I mean, there's a lot of audits and there's a lot of certifications, but we always thought that B Corp was probably one of the most complete, because it was measuring a lot of different things. So for us, it was very important. So in the end of 2017, we got in contact. As you say, we were the first fashion company in Spain to be B Corp. And since then, as you know, they evaluate you every 2 years. So we're getting evaluated now again. And I think we have improved. I think it's been nearly 35 points, which is amazing. Yeah. So we have been working over the last 2 years in a lot of things which they told us, you need to improve here, you need to improve here. So we were doing very well the sustainable part, but we were missing other parts. So we have been working a lot on those other issues, which is very important. And I think, if you take it seriously, it's evaluating yourself continuously and trying to improve yourself, which is very important. Keep challenges. We're very concerned with the end of life cycle of the products. So I always say we're invited always to give talks about circular economy, and we're not circular economy. We won't be circular economy until we're not able to transform again all our garments again into yarn. And we're also very concerned with the microfilaments. So right now we're investing in 2 amazing projects. One of them looks very good. So hopefully, I don't know, in a year we might be able to launch this filament which doesn't throw any microfilaments back to the system. And are huge challenges which we need to work on and keep on insisting. No, dyeing materials is another huge challenge. Water. There's a lot of things that there's a big way to improve.
And how much of this does it matter to you and your investors and the people in the business versus that that is what the customers are demanding. I mean, I think I'm going to take the fleece as a really good example, right? So that's your, you know, your number 2 bestseller, and you're making the decision because that, you know, they're not specialists. They don't know what you know, but you're making the decision on their behalf not to do it. But they want that coat, right? So do you believe, you know, are you being driven by yourself and the science, or are you being driven by the desire of your customers to want to be in a better world and a more environmental state?
I think well, we're driven by the conviction that that the earth is shaking and we need to take action and we need to take decisions. Giles, our experience, to be honest, is that every time we've taken a decision that we thought was good for the planet, it's been finally good for the company. And that's something amazing, because then you start explaining your clients, okay, we're not doing fleece jackets because of this and this and this and this, and we apologize, but this is how our values, and they understand it. And in fact, they start taking you very seriously, and they start having faith in what you're doing, and they start believing that you're serious, no, and that you have a direction, and you're not going to close it. No? It's funny, no, because now ECOALF is growing, so we have people who started with me at the beginning. They're very activists, like myself, so it's been very easy. But now the new people who are coming from other companies, it's more complicated because they don't understand. How come we don't do Black Friday? I mean, in my other company, that was 20% of the sales. How come we don't do this? Well, because we don't, this is where we're going. No? So I think we are who we are, and we might never be as big as other companies, or I don't know. But at the end, we try to stand behind what we believe.
Mm. And in relation to the consumer, obviously, you know, the name ECOALF has an environmental link to it. So you're already giving people from the moment they see you a kind of your position on the world. But you also use in the design, because there's no planet B, increasingly on a lot of your clothes. You've designed, you know, big no planet B onto the t-shirts, etc. You know, how much do you think that people want to wear your clothes, not just because they are environmentally sustainable, but they actually say that to other people, when I wear that t-shirt, it says that I care? Do you think that that's, you know, are those big sellers, those ones where you really are selling the overt message, the environmental message? Is it the younger customers that are more interested in those? How do you think people want to play with the environmental messaging that you include in your brands?
I lost you there at the end, but regarding the name, to be honest, the name was done very quickly because I wanted to launch the brand, and then it was end of 2008, beginning of 2009. So it's Eco. My son Alfredo had been born, and my son Alvaro, so I said ECOALF, and Alf was because of my sons, Alfredo and Alvaro. So it was very quick. To be honest, I didn't dedicate too much time to the name. It was just sort of in honor of my 2 kids. And then many people said, but why Alf? Alf was this monster from the TV. And I said, well, because it's the name of my sons. And then because there's no planet B, it was also another accident, because I remember I was going to a show in Berlin in 2014. And I don't know, I was reading in the plane something about plan A, plan B. And then I got to the stand, and suddenly there was a huge wall, which we hadn't seen, and it was empty. So I phoned the office, and we need to put something here. Why don't we put like a claim? And I said, there's no planet B. So we put that. People started taking photographs in front of the claim, not even visiting the stand. They just wanted to take a photograph in front of the. So we registered the claim. We have it registered in over 46 countries, and we use it a lot. As you say, we use it a lot in sweatshirts, t-shirts, and it's a bestseller. Normally, it goes very well in everything. So I think also for many people, as you say, it's a statement. So I'm wearing something which shows how I feel, how I think, what I'm concerned with. Yeah, I think it's definitely a way of expressing.
And do you think that that's going to increase in over time, or do you think that people are going to, you know, tire of that message in a way, that it's that in a sense the kind of virtue signaling has a lifetime, but actually the kind of core sustainability of a business will last much longer?
Well, I think it'll probably be both kind of people. No, there's people which I mean, some days myself I'm feeling like I want to wear like a blue neck jersey which doesn't say anything, and sometimes I feel like I need to wear a sweatshirt which says a message. No,
Yeah.
I think it depends. What it's true, Jill, and that is something that I think things have been changing over the last 2 years very quickly. I remember when I started, and I mean, a lot of people didn't even understand why should they buy something recycled. And nowadays, I must say, there's more and more people concerned, and more people who want to support brands which represent certain values they feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
So I think that's moving, I think, faster in the clients, and probably with our politicians, and probably with buyers, and but final customer, I think it's growing a lot, and I would say it's growing a lot in the young generations.
Yeah.
I mean, we give a lot of talks in schools and universities, and I must say, especially with young kids, they understand the message very quickly. So
Yeah.
hopefully for us, as we always say in ECOALF, that we spend a lot of time worrying about what kind of planet are we going to leave to the kids, and we should be much more worried with what kind of kids are we going to leave to the planet. Yeah. And so every time we invest time with young generations, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah,
because they're going to want, for them it's very natural.
And do you see a difference in different markets? You know, do you see it, Germany going faster or than Spain, or do you think that that's a general point across Europe at least, and in America?
I think there's a movement everywhere. Obviously, some countries are, for us, Germany is right now our top market, and even on top of Spain. So it's going very well. But I mean, Spain's also doing very well, and they're completely different markets. So so I think, yeah, it seems from my experience that north of Europe, it's more sensible. They're more aware with everything that has to do with sustainability. Countries like Italy, for example, it's not so important right now. Still, I mean, it's starting, but doesn't have that strength. So it depends.
Mm. And obviously, we're talking in the middle of the biggest world crisis probably in our lifetimes, the COVID crisis, and that's had huge implications on fashion, particularly, you know, how people are buying, you know, what they're buying. You know, I hear that there are more kind of tracksuits and sort of sweatpants being bought by Gucci than dresses these days. Yeah. Do you think that this is going to have a long-term impact on the sector? Do you think people are going to want different things coming out of this, or do you think that the crisis, the COVID crisis, is a blip and we will get back to where we were once things get back to normal?
Well, there's many theories. There's the theory that when people are going to be allowed again to go out, they're going to go out like crazy, and they're going to start buying, and they're going to start flying. I really hope that this pandemic has shown us that that we need to create a balance between the planet's health and our current or future needs. I think it's very important. I think it was amazing in Spain when the pandemic started. I mean, only 7 weeks after, you could see dolphins in the ports, you could see animals in the middle of the cities, you could see blue skies in Madrid as never seen before. So I think our planet has an incredible capacity to recuperate if we leave it calm. So I think a return to normality, in my opinion, would be a disaster, because the model we were living before pandemic wasn't working, and it's not working. I think we're destroying the planet at a speed which we're not even we don't even realize.
Yeah.
No? So hopefully we all of us in all the different sectors, not only in fashion, I think we need to change the business model behind, because this is taking us nowhere. And at the end, sometimes we have the sensations that like we need to make pieces with the planet, because it's like we're always fighting, no? And it's like a fight in between us and them, and this is we need new challenges. We need to get out of the comfort zone. We need to make strong decisions. And I think we also need a new generation of leaders. I think obviously one of the biggest problems is that the leaders right now, well, Spain is a disaster, but I would say European community is another disaster. Well, the US with Trump has been out of the question. So we need also people legislating, and legislating strong, because what we can, I mean, we are destroying everything at a speed which is very sad.
Yeah, I agree. I have one final question for you, and this is a businessy one. So here in the UK, do you know innocent drinks? Do you know the little fruit drinks? They were founded by three guys in the mid 90s. Actually, when we set up Good Business, they were friends of ours. And they were these healthy little drinks. So rather than soft drinks, with sugar and, nothing in them, they were real fruit in them, delicious. And they grew really well. But, in the end, there was only so fast that they could grow as a business on their own. And they needed the infrastructure of a global organization. But they were incredibly good business and really cared hugely about sustainability and how they made things and employed people and the farmers, etc. And so they sold their business to Coca-Cola. And they sold their business to Coca-Cola based on the agreement that it would stay as a separate business with the values that it had, but that they could utilize the infrastructure and the kind of the machinations of global business in order to be able to grow and to get this fantastic product to many more people. And it's launched in China and Japan, and it's a global brand now. And so I'm the chief executive of LVMH, and I knock on Javier's door and I say, I really like what you've done at ECOALF. I want you to join with all our other fashion brands. I want to buy you, and we will support ECOALF in becoming a global brand. That means that many more people can get the sustainable products in a sustainable way. Do you think that that's something that you believe is a good thing, where bigger businesses are buying good, small founder businesses like your own, and, in order to enable people to grow those businesses much faster and more successfully? Or do you think that that is something that you would be against your values?
No, I don't think it's against my values. I think at the end, what is important is that if we are ever going to sell that company, is that we make sure that our new partner is going to respect our philosophy. And in fact, our philosophy is going to impact the other brands of the group. So if, for example, LVMH buys ECOALF with the intention of maintaining every single value as we have done, and make ECOALF be a sort of sustainable hub for the rest of the brands to make them more sustainable, I think that would be a good thing. Because I always say the same thing, that at the end, the change is going to come from the big groups.
Yeah.
So the small companies like ECOALF, we can make noise, we can even, and it might sound a bit egocentric, but we can even show them that it's possible. That it's possible to have a collection which is 100% made by sustainable fabrics, and it's possible to not use certain yarns, and it's possible not to do promotions. And we can show them that it's possible. But at the end, we don't have the strength to change the market.
Yeah.
They have the strength because they are so strong with suppliers, they are so strong with manufacturers that they can really make the change faster. And I think we need to go fast. So I think that's why I also believe that now we're getting into years which we have to collaborate, all of us, a lot between us to go faster, because we cannot take 15 years to make the change. It's
Sure.
too slow.
Yeah.
It has to go much faster. And to go much faster, we need the big guys. We need the big guys with the resources, with the volume, with the people, with the teams. So I always say, I mean, we're happy to collaborate and help and with many brands to see if we can all move this as fast as possible.
Great. I think that's a really fantastic, to hear, because I think many people say it's wrong, and we strongly believe it's not. That, as you say, we have to find ways to move the market, as you say. I think that, rather than just the business, and that can't be possible by businesses just simply staying on their own and being furiously independent.
Exactly.
At the end of the day. So
no, and sustainability cannot be a niche. It has to be
it's got to be out there. Yeah.
No, so
great. Well, hopefully you'll get that call tomorrow from Monsieur Arnaud. Thank you so much, Javier. I know that we've had a slightly crackly line. That the weather in Madrid is terrible at the moment. You've a lot of snow.
You should see outside the window. I mean, it's like it looks like Canada here. Amazing.
Yeah.
It's never snowed like this in the history of Spain.
Amazing.
Oh, unbelievable.
There's really we're getting it all at the moment, aren't we? Pandemics, weather. So we've definitely done something wrong, and I think what you're doing at ECOALF is a way that a bit of right is happening. So we wish you all the luck, and thank you so much for spending some time.
Thank you very much, Will. A pleasure as always, and great to see you.
All right, take care, Javier. Bye.
Take care. Bye.